afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to the Grand Rapids Area Library, to the Artastic program with Grandma Nacy. I'm excited that you're here today, and hopefully you've picked up your kit, and if you haven't picked it up, you can have one of your grown-ups come and pick it up at the Grand Rapids Area Library. This is our packet, and so I'll show you what's in there first. First of all, we have watercolor paints. Love the watercolor paints. I always really like new watercolors. And then we have a couple very nice sheets of watercolor paper. So I think by now you know that we're probably going to do a watercolor painting. What's fun is this one is going to be done a little differently than maybe you've done before. We'll use our paintbrush a little bit, but we're mostly going to use Q-tips. We're mostly going to use Q-tips, which is super fun. And so you have some Q-tips there. It should be enough. What's really fun about Q-tips is it's double-ended. So when this side gets all worn out, then you have a whole other side. You have like a double paintbrush. They're very fun to work with too. And then, of course, you can use your bag as a table covering if you want, or if your grown-up wants you to have more newspaper, whatever, you can put that on. We also will need a little container of water. It's not necessary to fill it all the way to the top, because then it's hard to transfer to the table, and it's also difficult as you're painting because it spills a little bit easier. You can always get fresh water. So when it starts to get murky and mucky, you can get fresh water. This is what we're going to do today. This is a wildflower you see in Minnesota and other states. It is called the lupin. One thing I want to say about the lupin is it's not really native to northern Minnesota, but some people have planted it, and so you will see it, and I consider it a wildflower, but it is, where you see it, it has been planted. It hasn't necessarily grown naturally. It spreads really quickly. So once someone plants lupin in their garden, or sometimes people do it on the edge of their driveway or in a field, this plant grows or reproduces really quickly. So if you have just a few, then that will grow really quickly. Here would be an example of a pretty full lupin garden. There's a lot of different lupins, and you can notice that they're different colors too, which I really, it's one of the reasons I enjoy this particular wildflower. It comes in different colors, and it's relatively tall. You can see how these reach up, and I guess I would say maybe it would reach up 2 of these. So if you can picture that, if you have not seen them in your travels. One place they do have them, if you've ever been between Duluth and Grand Marais, that highway, we refer to it as the North Shore. There's a lot of state parks up there, a lot of places you can explore, and as you're driving, you will see lupin in many places there. There's also, I've seen it in Grand Rapids a little bit too. I went and checked out this morning a place where I've seen it before, and there aren't any there anymore. So I don't know if they just didn't grow this year, or they're already done. I haven't actually seen them for a couple years, so I think they might be gone. But they're very fun to do, and that's what we're going to do. Okay? Now I will show you, because this is how lupins grow. If you can see these tips on these flowers, they're still green, they haven't blossomed out. And then, once they're in full bloom, there won't be that green. All of them will have come out, okay? And they're just very fun to do. So, I guess for now, you could get your materials ready. Remember, you have your watercolor paint, you have Q-tips as paintbrushes, and you have nice watercolor paper. You'll also want your water, and you'll have to take the plastic off of your watercolors. And then we'll start our project today. All right, I have my station set up. Hopefully you have your station set up. Here's an example that I did, and you can see they're tall flowers, and I tried to make them so some look closer, some look further away, and we'll talk about that while we work on the flowers. The lupins, when they grow up the stem, I showed you that where the stem was green. Let me see if I can find that again. Yeah, here it is. They start at the bottom with their growth and go up, and you can see these are starting to open up, and then these will open up and they'll come all the way up. So when they're fully grown, they're a little wider in the middle, and then they taper off a little bit. It gives them a really, so they start down here and they're growing and getting new blooms, and then they start to taper off. It gives them a really, really nice look. These pictures, I don't have any pictures of lupins far away, but these pictures, you can see the individual blooms. If you see these further away, if you're driving in a car and you look and you say, wow, there's some lupins up ahead, Mom and Dad. You just see a really cool color swatch come up. You'll see the pink, and they look like, they kind of look like cattails, actually. Colorful cattails is what they look like. They're fun to look at from a distance too. And then of course this is a closer picture. Because they're wildflowers, they will grow where somebody planted them or where they transplanted themselves. And so there's going to be other plants around. There's going to be, this is just grass. This is just grass, and there's a little bit of white flowers. So your background, this one is kind of cool because these, you can't really see them that well because they're back, but this picture was taken on like this. These are columbine, and you've probably seen them. They're kind of pinkish and have little, they look like a little crown actually. They're pinkish little crowns that go straight up, and then the middle is yellow. So they grow in clusters too, but this is a pretty big cluster. I don't know who took this picture, but it's pretty cool. They got columbines and they got lupins. They got some great pictures there. All that being said, art is your own view of what you want to paint, what you want to draw, what you want to create. So these lupins are going to be your lupins. You might make some that aren't fully bloomed. You might make different color ones, okay? So what you want to do is what you want to do. I'm going to start using my paintbrush. Remember I told you we weren't going to use a paintbrush, but I'm going to use a paintbrush just to make, I want to have some kind of a little, I made a little jump there, didn't I? I moved my paper and it jumped it, and so I'm gonna make some lines like this that are gonna act like a stem. I just might make a few and then I might add more, but this is gonna act like my stem that goes up. And I'm not gonna make them all the same size. I'm gonna make them different size, okay? So if you wanna do that, that would be great. I'm not gonna make this part yet the background or the background of the sky either, okay? I want our flowers really to be the center. Sometimes, you know, I like you to fill in the whole entire background really, really well. On this particular one, I feel like the lupines are the center, and the lupines are really delicate and dainty, and so our background isn't really that important to the whole piece, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm excited. What color should I do? I think I'm gonna start with, I'm hoping this is purple. I get this pretty wet. I'll just hold it there for a second so it gets some water. Same as with a paintbrush. And because these are new paints, you have to break that seal, so I'm gonna get a little extra water on there. So I break that seal. Now I have a little paint on the end of my Q-tip. And then I'm just gonna start making dots. When you feel like you need more, then that's all you're gonna do, is just get more. Do you see that some of it is really light and some of them are darker? Because my Q-tip is eventually running out of paint, but honestly, it's very nice to have the difference, to have the light and to have the purple, or the darker purple rather. And you can go on top of the stem too. I'm just kind of waiting for that for a little bit at the end so it dries. I'm just making literal dots, that's all I'm doing. And then this is where it gets kind of skinny, but it got too skinny here, so I have to add more there. Okay? I really like it, and I'm gonna leave it alone for now, but then I'm gonna come back in with some other colors. Now, I'm gonna use a different color, so I'm taking my little paintbrush that is really a Q-tip, and I'm using the other end. And I'm gonna start here. Maybe this time I'll start at the top. Now this yellow is gorgeous, but you might notice something about it. It doesn't show up as well as the purple. And that's okay because we will make it work. We will make it work. I'm gonna make it work. These dots, I'm making a little bit bigger. I kind of smashed my Q-tip down. When I was doing the purple, I did it really lightly. And here I'm kind of smashing it down a little bit for two reasons. Because I want this flower to be closer in view. I want this one to be closer in view. And also, the yellow is a little bit lighter. And let me see if I can find, I don't really see one with yellow, but that's fine. There's a little bit of yellow. I don't think that's some kind of another flower. That might be a lily or something. This kind of looks like a corn on the cob. I'm gonna fix it so it's not gonna look like it. Oh yes, thank you, Nicole. Here's yellow. Yellow isn't as common as the pinks and the blues. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do to the yellow, I'm gonna get a new Q-tip because I'm gonna give it a little bit orange. I'm gonna get a little bit orange. I didn't mean to go that big, but that's okay. Kind of shade it in a little on some of these edges with the orange. I actually wanted it to run a little bit there. So all I did was I dipped it in the water. Do you see how it's running a little bit? I was trying to get not necessarily solid orange dots. I'm trying to get it to blend in with the yellow there so it looks just like a little shading. And I'll do a little bit of that. I want to hide that stem a little bit, so maybe I'll just go right down. Like that. How's that? Okay. I'll leave that alone for now. And now I'm going to go blue. Blue. I'm going to do this one kind of lightly because this one I want it to be in the background a little bit more, so I'm going to do it lightly. Okay, there's that one. I feel good about that. I kind of want to make another light, small one. So I think I will go back here a little bit. And I'll make maybe 2 of them. I'm going to use purple. And I'm going to go very lightly again. This is pretty wet. I have this pretty wet with water on it because I want the circles to kind of just go together. Okay, now, let me see. Try a little blue with that purple. And I want that to be a little watery too. I like that. Maybe I should do it over here a little bit too. This is so relaxing. I hope you're enjoying it. It really is a fun thing to do. Just relaxing. Now this one ran quite a bit. I didn't expect that, but that's okay. I'm gonna try, I don't have pink, but I'm gonna try a really watered down red because I like that too. Let's just see what happens here. That looks good. I like that. That looks pink. So now, I'll maybe make another one right over here. You can make as many as you want. I think I'll call it good on these, but I want to use that light red again. And again, some of them are a little darker, and that's good. That's how it should be. There we go. This one looks a little bit like it doesn't have enough color though, right? That's what you get to do. You just kind of have, you look back at them and decide, oh, that one needs more. That green ran a little bit too much, but that's okay because it'll be awesome when it's done. I like this light red, so I'm going for it again over here. Oops, I didn't mean to get you there, but that's okay. What do you think? I like them. I'm going to start some background. So I think I'm going to do pretty watered down green. And then I'm just going to run it across. Has to be more watered down. And I'm going to go right up to the flower, right up to the flower. I still haven't gotten any more green because I want it really watered down. So I feel good about it. Let's make it kind of disappear down here. Maybe a tad more. And I wet that down. I'm gonna wet that paper down and then barely get a dot. Now you don't have to do it like this if you don't want to. You can do it nice and solid, but I'm just gonna do this. And then I'm gonna go up a little bit in here. Up into there. Do you see how it's just, it's really just flowing in that water. You'll get enough color. Little dab, go over here. Little dab, go over here. Oh, I didn't have enough water there. It's not gonna go. And we'll go like that. Little dab. Okay, so that, you can tell, that would be our ground base. Now, remember I showed you that where you see these, you're gonna see, first of all, they have their own leaves, but you're also gonna see all kinds of other leaves and plants. So I'm gonna just make some, I'm not gonna have I want quite a bit of paint this time, so I don't want so much water because I wanna make plants. I'm gonna make leaves on those plants. I'm just making this plant up. By the way, I have no idea what it is. I just want to show that there's some plants growing in here. And there might be another one over here. This one's gonna be a little different. So you see what I'm doing, right? You're just gonna add some green plants in here. I'm really not focusing a lot on my strokes. I'm just kind of doing it, if that makes sense. You're just kind of making clumpy greenery that shows, and you can even make some just little long grasses too. That looks good. Little long grasses, that's gonna look good. This needs a little more over here. Some long grasses. Okay, I'm good with that. You can do as many of those or as few of those as you want. And if you feel like it's too, you can put water on top of it and kind of move it around more. Like, let's say I feel like I want them to be subtle. So I'm gonna kind of put a little water on it and see if that flows that paint a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm gonna do the sky the same way. I guess first I wanna get it wet with a little bit of paint. I'm gonna go right up to there, bring that paint down. And the blue and the green are gonna kind of meet, right? So that's all good. I'll bring that blue down there a little bit, right into the green. You don't, it's up to you too. If you want just your flowers, you don't have to make the sky back there. That's totally up to you. Now you do have another piece of paper too. So what I would do is one of two things. You can try to make a different kind of a lupin arrangement. You could make some lupins in a vase on a table. Now look what happened. I got a little bit too aggressive there. So that's gonna be a little bit brown because the orange hadn't quite dried. And so I got some water on it. All right, so there are a couple of examples of what you might want to do. I hope you have a really good time doing the lupins, and I also hope you pay attention to, have your parents pay attention to what's happening at the library this summer. There's all kinds of fun activities for kids, so if you want to try some of those out, that would be great. I'll see you next time. Thank you.